We've all seen the problem. Every year, the ISO audit scramble hits, and suddenly, you're hunting for evidence across 1,000 different places. That's where Tool Zero comes in, your new central compliance hub. It's the smart front door to our proven 12 tools methodology. First, you enter basic information about your company and the standards you aim to meet. Next, it assists in creating an evidence folder. It generates templates and documents for your use. After you input your evidence, it helps analyze those documents, preparing you for any audit. Imagine how much simpler this becomes for your internal quality team and external auditors too. The best part, you don't need to learn new software. This runs within the spreadsheets you already know how to use. No need for IT permissions to get this tool. No risk of data leaking like with third-party software. Just a powerful tool that does what you want, that you can customize to make your own. This is the enhanced Tool Zero, your central compliance hub by Concentric.
We're really excited to share our latest update, version 2.6.5 of the 12 tools. So while there has been minor updates to the rest of the 12 tools, our core focus this month has been on building out the functionality of Tool Zero. And I'd like to give you a quick demo of Tool Zero here today. You'll immediately notice some changes here to the company setup page. We've included this section here. You can select the standards in which your organization is adhering to. So for this demo, let's say 9001, 14,001, and 45,001, for example. I can now give Tool Zero two links. One is a link to the folder where I'm going to be keeping all of my evidence, as well as the folder I use where I keep my clean versions of the 12 tools templates. Everything else here on the company setup page remains the same. You can provide here information about your various locations, which is really relevant and helpful to both the auditors and quality managers. Once you've done that, you'll notice that we've added a gap analysis hub tab. So when we first start out, it's all pretty blank. You'll see here the standards that we selected as well as the clauses. And so if we scroll down, you'll see here we have the 9001 clauses, we have the 14,001 clauses, and all the way at the bottom we have the 45,001 clauses. So those are all the standards that we selected, but everything else is pretty blank. So what Tool Zero allows you to do is allows you to automate a lot of the processes needed in order to fulfill any compliance obligations. Up here, you'll notice a Concentric Audit Tools menu. If I click this, I can have Tool Zero help me set up the evidence folder. Now, before I click that, let me just show you the folder that I've selected. So here's the evidence folder. You can see here that it's completely blank. I'm going to now have Tool Zero help me set up this evidence library. Once I click OK, if I come back here to the folder, you'll start to notice that it generates these different folders. So first, it's generated a folder for general evidence. So you'll see here it's got various subfolders that is helpful for you to collect evidence. But you'll also notice if you come into the 12 tools folder, you'll see that it's starting to generate templates for you based on the requirements you've selected. So this will just take a few seconds. And if we go back here to the main folder, you'll notice that in a few seconds, it'll generate some dedicated folders for the various standards we've selected. And here we go. Here are some dedicated folders that it's generated. So it's generated 3 different types of folder structures. The first is a dedicated folder to the 12 tools. Now the 12 tools, if you don't know yet, are a selection of 12 tools that are appropriate for multiple different standards and business functions. And so this is a shared folder which may be applicable to multiple standards. The same is true for general evidence. This is a folder in which you can provide evidence that may be shared across multiple standards. And then here we have dedicated folders for these specific standards. Now, if we come back to Tool Zero, we see here that it's completed the library setup. We can click OK and now come to the second step. So as you can see, nothing's really changed here. We have all these clauses. We have space here where we can link evidence, and we have a selector where we can choose what status a particular clause is with regards to it being ready for an audit. So the next step is to ask ToolZero to help us add some evidence. And we can do that again here, coming up to the concentric audit tools menu. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to link the various different 12 tools templates to the appropriate clauses. Right, so if I click this button, and then it's going to take a few seconds, it's analyzing all of the different tools. It's analyzing the requirements of each of the clauses and then suggesting the most appropriate tool for the particular clause. Right, so it's doing that for all of the different clauses. So this just takes a couple of seconds. Now this is really helpful. So it's helpful in that now you understand the context in which these different tools are appropriately used for, but it also helps you collect the required evidence you're going to need in order to pass any audits. Okay, so here we go. It's now finished analyzing all of the clauses, and it's auto-linked all of the relevant templates that can be used as evidence for these. Now, once I complete these templates, a quality manager can then review these and then start to judge how ready they are for any particular audit. So I can say, you know what, we are not ready yet for this one. I think we're pretty much ready for clause 4.1. We're not at all ready for 4.2. And I can just add, status here as a quality manager for all of these. Right, and so up here at the top, we have a overall readiness score that we can keep track of. But now what about other evidence? I've got these two other columns that I can add evidence to. So let's say, for example, we have some dedicated files that are specific to the standard of 9001. What I can do is I can add that evidence here in this dedicated folder. So let's say I do that. And here I've just copied a bunch of different files, some PDFs, some spreadsheets, and some text documents. I can now let ToolZero know that I've got some additional evidence that it can start to analyze. So I can come back here to the concentric audit tools menu and let it know that I've got some dedicated evidence that it can start to look at. I tell it which standard to look at and then click go. It gives me a little message. And then it's going to start to analyze those documents that I added. And it's going to check which clauses it may be relevant to. Okay, and here we go. It's found 14 relevant clauses that these documents may be relevant towards. And it's linked those all here. And I can do the same now for the general evidence. So in my folder structure, I'm going to add some general evidence. Let's say I'm going to add some training records. So I'm going to paste training record here. Now, if I ask ToolZero to scan general evidence, it's going to take a look at that folder structure, look at any documents I've added, and then it'll add those documents. So it should have added a link to it here in general evidence. Yep, here. So it's added the training documents here for clause 7.2, which makes total sense because this is all about competency records. So now I can say, you know what, this one is good to go. So there's one final feature we added, and that's here on the right. You will have noticed that within the various different 12 tools, we have Sam's advice. And whenever it has this striped purple color to it, it means that it can be rerun because some information on this record has changed. So if I regenerate this, it's going to analyze the documents that I've got based on the clause that I've got here. And it's going to give a very generalized idea of how confident it is that you are ready for this particular clause. Now, Sam is assuming, though, that you have accurately completed these various different templates. And so if for example, we have no records and we ask Sam to provide advice, it's going to say, you know what, I think you need to work on this one and tell you what you should be doing. So that's it for Tool Zero. It's meant to be a compliance hub where you can keep track of not only the overall status of your readiness for any audits, but down to the individual clause level. This will really help your quality teams, but also it will help any auditors fly through whatever work they need to do. We are initially only releasing this Tool Zero to our enterprise clients, but if you really want to test this out, reach out to James and we'll see what we can do. Until the next big update, which will be in a few weeks, goodbye.